Hello everyone. When you think of the term sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you don't think of stand-up comedy. You usually think of rock music. The person I'll be talking about who lived that lifestyle is not a musician, but a stand-up comedian. That person is the late great Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison was born on December 8th, 1953, in Yakima, Washington, U.S. His full name is Samuel Burl Kinison. He was an American stand-up comedian and actor. His influences include Lenny Bruce, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Rudy Ray Moore, and Fred Rogers. His stand-up comedy consisted of observational humor, dark humor, and satire that was done in a charismatic preacher-like way. He would talk about his failed marriages, dating, human sexuality, current events, American politics, and religion. He would go on intense, sudden tirades that would often end with his distinctive scream for comedic effect. The preacher-like qualities of his stand-up came from the fact that he used to be a preacher. He wasn't a successful preacher, though. He didn't make a lot of money from preaching, and after his marriage ended with his first wife, he decided to quit preaching and become a stand-up comedian. In 1978, Kinison would begin his career in comedy in Houston, Texas, where he would perform at small clubs. Kinison would become a member of the comedy group the Texas Outlaw Comics, which were based at the Comedy Workshops. Other members of this group include Bill Hicks, Ron Schock, Carl LeBove, John S., Riley Barber, Dan Merriman, Jimmy Pineapple, Riley Barber, Steve Epstein, Andy Huggins, Stephen Giuliano Moore, and John Farnetti. Kinison would make an immediate impression on the aforementioned late great Bill Hicks, who was also starting out around this time, and he would become a major influence on Hicks's comedy style. In 1980, after having some success in Houston, Kinison would move to Los Angeles to further his career. He would try to get work at the Comedy Store, but would initially be hired as the doorman instead. When he finally started to perform there, he would perform for free, but would eventually become a regular fixture at the club. He would eventually become friends with Robin Williams and Jim Carrey while he was cutting his teeth there. Kinison would develop a drug addiction around this time and would struggle to gain a foothold in the business. Luckily, his brother Bill would move out to LA to help manage his career. In August of 1985, Kinison would get his big break when he appeared on HBO's Rodney Dangerfield's 9th annual Young Comedian special. A few months after that, he would make his network television debut on Late Show with David Letterman. He would eventually make appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and Saturday Night Live. He would also be given a 4-special deal with HBO and a 4-record deal with Warner Brothers. In 1986, Kinison would release his well-received debut album titled Louder Than Hell and would make a memorable appearance in the Rodney Dangerfield movie Back to School. In 1987, Kinison would officially become a household name when his debut HBO special Breaking the Rules came out. In 1988, Kinison would have his second album released titled Have You Seen Me Lately? At the end of the album was Kinison covering the song Wild Thing by the Trogs. That cover and the music video to it launched him to rock and roll comedy stardom. When the album hit the charts, Kinison put a band together to take his rock and roll comedy act on the road, and he would even join famous rock bands at the time on stage to perform that cover. Within the same year, things would come crashing down for Kinison when his youngest brother, Kevin, committed suicide. He blamed himself for Kevin's death, and his drug abuse, mental health, and ego spiraled out of control. His comedy at the time became darker and meaner. He wasn't as focused on creating quality comedy at this time because of his drug abuse. By mid to late 1991, Kinison would finally enter rehab after years of pleading from his brother. He wouldn't become completely sober, but was a step in the right direction. On April 10th, 1992, before Kinison would officially turn his life around, he died in a car crash by getting hit by a drunk driver. He was only 38 years old. Many people in the entertainment industry paid tribute to Kinison, such as George Carlin, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Rodney Dangerfield, Ozzy Osbourne, and many more. At the time, and even to this day, Kinison has left a great impact on stand-up comedy, and for that I give my respects to him. Well, that's the end of this video. If you like this video and want more like it, then subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. I'm Vaughn Wesley, and have a good one.